afternoon to all of you, and I thank Team IFA Galaxy for giving me this opportunity to share some of my learnings and experience as a fellow professional, and that too on a topic which is very close to my heart. I'm fully aware that today I am the only person standing between you and your tea break, so I will try to keep this short, and I hope at the end of this 15 minutes, I leave you at least with one idea or one action point that would make you feel that your time now was well spent. Now, as part of our profession, we are constantly talking of growth. Every day we are bombarded with data on growth. Growth in India's GDP, growth in corporate earnings, growth in per capita income, growth in stock market indices, or growth in AUM of mutual funds. And in our own business, everything is growing, like your number of clients, SIPs, revenues. And if I were to plot any of these numbers in a line graph, all of you know over the last 10 years, the line would categorically grow north. Now, I just want to pose one question. In the same period, over the last 10 years, how many of us have noticed the same significant increase in the number of our female clients? Either in terms of number or in terms of AUM. I'm not even sure if any of us analyze our business from that perspective, right? So friends, I want you to identify this number and ponder over this number for some time. Now I can see several of us thinking, are we by any chance on March 8th? Why are we even talking about women investors on a day which is not International Women's Day? Because women are considered as this niche market. Now I'm going to tell you how this niche market is actually your mainstream market. Women are rapidly growing and becoming a dominant force in the Indian economy. More women are getting into the workforce. There is enough and more data on this. And another interesting social norm that I have observed now is that among the families, I'm increasingly seeing families where it is no longer taboo for the man to earn lesser than the woman. I am increasingly working with couples where the man and woman are accepting of these situations. They see it as a natural progression, and this was not the case 20 years back. There is this family that I work with where the lady with some 15 years of experience in the startup space today is drawing 75 to 80 lakhs of a fixed income, not to mention bonuses and RSUs. But her husband is running his own consulting firm, equally successful, but he's learning less than 1/3 of his wife's pay. This is the kind of transition that is happening in the earning equation in families. And of course, women often find themselves at several occasions to manage money with passive income. They take more career breaks. And there are situations where they have to engage in single parenting. And unfortunately, whether we like it or not, the divorce rates are going up. And also, traditionally, women always outlive men. And so, therefore, they generally need to manage money much longer, either in terms of life insurances or inheritances. So, as women continue to make these strides in various spheres, their impact on the investment landscape is equally significant. And it's also having a direct impact on the investment industry and our industry. There was recently this study, some statistics of which I have shared, by a Women Investment Behavior Report in 2024. It has revealed that women are increasingly including mutual funds as a significant part of their investment portfolios, thanks to all the campaigns run by AMFI, financial literacy. And this flourishing trend not only empowers women financially, but it also contributes to the overall expansion of the MF sector. I have worked with women clients over the last 15, 16 years, and I've also conducted IAPs focused on women. For around 3 years, I was running this online Sunday school where we worked with an exclusively women audience. Now, it is often said that women take money very lightly. They are, spenders. They are not, retail therapy is the thing. They are spenders. They are not savers. Now, this cannot be farther from the truth. Women realize the importance of money very often, but they have not been included in the money management process and in financial decision making either by chance or even by their own choice. I'm not saying it was always thrust upon them. In fact, I've had several clients of mine, men who always say, I want my wife to take care of this, I want my wife to engage in this, but she just doesn't seem interested. The thing is, women have always been conditioned to believe that managing money is a man's forte and it's his domain. But now, increasingly, they are realizing that being in charge of their money is a big step towards establishing their independence and boosting their self-esteem. And once they start making these financial decisions, they are surely more disciplined and more patient than their male counterparts. I have an example or a story to tell here also. I work with this couple. Both of them run their very successful family business together, and I've been working with them since 2016 or 17. And their business is doing very well, and I have helped them build an asset base outside their business through mutual funds predominantly. And in their business space also, the husband is a little bit conservative and the wife is more aggressive and she is the risk taker. They do it together. This reflects in their investment decisions also. Over the last 7-8 years that I've worked with them, whenever there is a market downturn, he would become very nervous and he would talk of withdrawing the investments or pausing the SIPs. And he would say things like, this is why I never dabbled in the stock market. Either way, this kind of a mindset. But she was always convinced because she associated this investment, because when we started, we said their son is in school and this is going to fund his overseas education, both UG and PG, and she knows what's a big commitment there. And and also associated with their retirement. So she never touched the investments, even during periods when they had working capital issues in their business. She had set aside a corpus for their goal, and she's committed to achieving it. And she even brushes away his objections when he says, no, we have started doing this. We have said we will wait till 2032 for this, and we will wait. So women take their family goals exceedingly seriously. They are very, very emotionally connected to their financial goals. In fact, the same study from the Investment Behavior Report has revealed that during periods of market volatility and upheavals, women exhibit more resilience. They stay invested despite downturns, and during positive cycles, they display cautious optimism. During upspins, they do not rush into the market, in contrast to their male counterparts. There is another angle to us, which is interesting to us. An inherent nature of women is that they always seek validation. I'm talking of the broad rule here. There could be exceptions. But though they might be very intelligent and knowledgeable, they always appreciate the importance of a sounding board in all matters. Right this morning when I had to deliver this task, I had my better half who had to listen to this entire talk at least 2 times, and I was telling at what point of it do you feel like sleeping, So this is an inherent nature, and so the convenience of having a professional, having an advisor with whom they can brainstorm their ideas, seek professional opinion on investment decisions is very, very important to women. It helps women discuss and understand various aspects of investment matters and operate with conviction. As MFDs, all of us know we no longer work with individuals. We work with families. We no longer sell products. We offer solutions. If that is how we are going to position ourselves, it's no longer a choice for us to ignore or be indifferent to women investors and women customers. Now, having said this, are we doing this only for the upliftment of women? No, this makes perfect business sense because a lot of things about women investors work in our favor. I have found that when you have earned the trust of women investors and have created a certain amount of goodwill, their loyalty quotient is exceedingly high. They are not going to be easily viewed by fancy presentations, social media advertisements, or every other sales pitch that they hear from anyone else. And also, women are more focused on the process, whereas men are focused on the results. They show a lot of attention to detail, and they are very careful when they assume a responsibility. Actually, I have a client whom I onboarded very recently. She is a 77-year-old school teacher, retired school teacher. She has a significant corpus because of a property sale that she did. Now, she was referred and she came to my office for the meeting alone by herself. Then we presented everything and all that. we got her KYC done. And when she started getting these KYC messages where you had to click a link and authenticate something, she called me up and said, Rajee, these days there are so many links. These are all sent by scammers. So I want to understand which link I should click, whether I can give this, She is tuned to that level. And also, normally when we send the UCC form, investors just cursorily go through it. They just see if the email ID is right, if the phone number is right, and they just authenticate it. She went through the form so meticulously. We had made the spelling mistake in the nominee's name. Instead of a A, we had put a E. So she promptly brought it to our knowledge, asked us to change the UCC form. And I had initially assumed when I sent the proposal, I was, my own conditioning and cliche, I was asking whether your husband will approve it or will your daughter and son-in-law approve it. And she said, no, I have gone through the proposal. You have explained the broad framework. Whatever you said made a lot of sense to me. Let us go ahead with this. So I have every reason to believe that women take money matters very seriously, and they expect guidance and direction from their advisors, and they are willing to put in the time that is required. Also, we have been talking about working women and women in the earning scale. But while the working women is on the rise, several times as advisors and MFDs, we tend to ignore a very significant segment, which is the quintessential homemaker. Thou, who may have assumed the role of a nourisher in a family, she is not the provider, but she is a very, very important influencer. It is to our advantage that we make her a very integral part of the financial planning process. When I start working with the family, I generally encourage. This morning, Nimesh was talking of a nudge. I normally provide that nudge. I insist that both the husband and the wife should participate in meetings. I'm not saying it is easy. Here, men and even women's own mental blocks, limiting beliefs, they say, this is something that he's handling. What am I going to do in that meeting? I don't have an opinion in this. All this will come up. I try to understand where this reluctance is actually coming from. Sometimes it's coming from a fear that they wouldn't understand, or they might say something stupid, or finance is very complex. At that time, I try and reiterate the importance of involving both the parties. Another important argument which works for me that I place in front of the women is that today, in a fair sharing of duties between couples, we expect the men to take a role in bringing up the children in domestic chores. I mean, I can assume all the men have done washing vessels and washing clothes in COVID. So we are expecting men to take these responsibilities. So on a fair exchange, it is only fair that women assume equal responsibility in money management, so that the entire credit or the entire blame of right or wrong decisions is not solely on the shoulders of men, and this mostly works with the women. And once you have managed to break that I don't think I would get this, or I don't need to know this mindset, they are quite interested. And once they are convinced this is working for them, you will find that women are more open with referrals. They will talk about you. They have a very good network, and they are happy to give introductions. So I think this will help us broaden our client base, and we are in a win-win situation here. In terms of strategies, while the broad dynamics are the same, I would say building trust, tailored solutions, digitalization, and do not use very technical jargon. Keep the language simple. All this will work. Before I wind up, I just want to share one last story. This was a lady who came to me when she was 38 years old. This was again in year 2016, I think, or 2013 maybe. And that time she was 37 years old. Her husband had passed away in a very untimely medical crisis. She had 2 young children, and she was living with her aged parents. She had no clue about her husband's investment. She was educated. She was a MCom corporate secretaryship, but she had been engrossed in her duties as a provider. And she had also received a significant amount as life insurance and terminal benefits. She was so worried that how is she going to manage the next 25 years without a steady income. Step by step, I just asked her to put that money in fixed deposit for 3 months. 3 months we worked with her on transmission issues, just identifying where the money is. We then decided on asset allocation, built a MF portfolio, and she committed on that day that this is for her children's education and she will not touch it. That was her goal, not to touch the MF portfolio. She took up a job, and she started funding for her living expenses at least. And even during COVID, she was jobless for 7 months. She did not have a salary, but she refused to dip into this savings. She said, let this be, I will manage. She took a loan from her brother. And later on, she repaid that loan, but she was so committed. And today, with her son studying engineering in Anna University, she has single-handedly steered her family through a very transformative phase. So believe me, friends, when, by virtue of our profession, we find ourselves being a part of this kind of impact on a family, the satisfaction and pride that you're going to get is really immense. So on a closing note, historically, social and cultural norms have often limited women's access to financial services, but that's changing fast. Women are breaking barriers and achieving success in all fields. I truly believe that liberty for women truly comes in from the ability to make financial decisions for her life. As financial advisors, it's our responsibility to recognize this shift, adapt our approach to cater to this segment. This is our theme: elevate your engagement with women clients, educate the better half of your client segment, and excellence, both financial and non-financial, will follow in our profession. Let's embrace this opportunity and become leaders in serving women investors. Let's build a more inclusive and equitable financial landscape for all. Thank you again for the opportunity.